entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. I know you could be a million other places, so we're very happy to have you here with us today. Getting the Edge is brought to you by Edge Media Hub, Tampa Bay's local multi-platform media company, specifically designed to assist small business owners with connections, sharing stories, building influence and visibility in the community. Even through the pandemic and the shutdown and the safer at home orders, we're still coming to you each week, trying to share stories about what our business owners in the community are doing, how they're handling things. We hope to inspire you some, and we hope to share frustrations as well. It's definitely want to be real here on Getting the Edge. We're all dealing with a lot, personally, professionally. We've all been through a lot as we try to take each day forward as positively as possible. So again, thank you for being with us today. I'd like to thank our sponsors. Thank you to All Trust Insurance, your trusted employee benefits partner. Thank you Pilot Bank, and thank you WeBeam TV and the team at Tampa Bay Multimedia. John Gaston and his team I've worked with for many years now, and totally recommend them. If you're looking for a platform, as we're all looking and are transitioning to better connect with and share our voice with our clients and relationships, definitely reach out to WeBeam TV, Tampa Bay Multimedia, John Gaston, for all of your video and an Edge or a show similar to Edge. Make sure you check out TampaBayMultimedia.com and WeBeamTV.com as well. So again, excited to be here with you each and every week. For more information, you can visit us online at edgemediahub.com. You can look through all of the previous articles from all of the Edge Business magazines, and you can also watch all of the shows as well. Happy to be in season 6 now with our transitioned pod vision, as the amazing video guru John Gaston would call it. So again, really happy to be here, hoping everyone stays strong and we're all in this together. So hang in there. Excited today about our show. We're splitting it up, actually. We've got 2 guests for you today. One of my great friends is coming on with us first. We'll have Michael Murphy, owner of Michael Murphy Gallery, on with us for the first half. And Nicole Carver, who is owner of Carver Concierge, will be on with us the second half of the show. But Michael Murphy is a great friend of mine, has been for over a decade. Michael Murphy Gallery on South Tampa on McDill. Hopefully you've checked out the gallery over the years. He's been there almost 30 years now. So very happy to introduce Michael Murphy. Michael, thank you for joining us today.
Kelly, thanks for having me. After hearing that introduction, I'm like, now I see why the gray hairs are coming in.
I appreciate you going through the effort to be with us virtually today. I know it was not easy to get you ready, so happy that you're here with me.
It was not my best moment, but that's okay. We're here, and it's going to be what, as many things have over the past 8 weeks.
Yes.
A lot of changes have happened on the fly, so this is just one more.
Well, as we know it, right? Life does not throw us all rainbows. I mean, it definitely is everything's challenging. But again, Michael, you've been a dear friend of mine for a long time. I'm very happy and grateful for you to be on the show with us today. You've been a part of Edge and my life for a long time. So happy to talk about the gallery and
vice versa.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Although I get older, you don't. I'm not sure how that happens, but.
Thank you. Actually, I think we're both getting older, though.
Oh, well.
But thank you. I appreciate that. I know time goes so fast. It's crazy. How long has Michael Murphy Gallery been in South Tampa now?
It's hard. There wasn't a moment in time when we went, today we're opening. But in South Tampa, we started actually probably close to 40 years ago. Down in this part of town, and we moved a lot. We were in a lot of different locations. We were in the strip center where Bella's was. We shared space with NAFCO, Fort Covering, and a good friend of mine, and came down to this end of McDill and moved around businesses down here for a while. We were in our big first building, the 5,000 square foot space, where we were more of a framing business at art. We were in there for 15 years, and then we moved into what I call the new gallery. This one we've been in here over 16 years, so it's really not the new gallery anymore, although it still feels like it, since it felt like I was birthing a child when we built it.
Well, that when you have a business, it is definitely like birthing a child for sure.
Absolutely. So we got this open, and we've had a lot of amazing events and brought through great artists. But we've also been able to use the space because it's such a great space. We've been able to use it for different types of events. We've had sit-down dinners. We've had everything from the Earth Charter, and they were here for their big event where we got to meet Stephen Rockefeller. I mean, I've had just some amazing different people come through and doing private events. So it's really been the building, which a friend of mine, Jan Wyman, is an architect, and he helped a lot with the space, and a couple other people. So it really lends itself to that, and it's given me a great life experience. That's given me a platform, which is interesting when you say a building has done that or your business has done that. But for me, it's been a great experience, and hopefully we'll be able to capitalize on that and keep moving forward. Today is actually our first day open since we were closed, since we were considered a non-essential business. But so we're excited. We're excited about all the new things we've got going, and we see this as an opportunity.
Yeah, there's that, right? We're all going through such a transitional time as we continue to try to take, positive steps forward. It's definitely, we're in a challenging time, but I just want to congratulate you for 40 years. I mean, that's amazing to be kind of have a presence in the community, and a very well-respected presence for that matter in the community. And again, I've been excited to have you in my life, but it's also been, we've done events, Edge Hat, I think it was January of 2016. We did one of our Edge events there at the gallery, and you have a little bit of everything at the gallery, and it hopefully most of our community has stopped in at one point or another, but hopefully if they haven't, they will definitely consider, especially now that you're reopening. What are your hours going to be now that you're transitioning into the...
Right now, we are going to be Tuesday through Friday. We open at 11 and we close at 6. And then Saturday we're open at 11 and we close at 4. The only addition to that, if we go back to normal hours, we'll end up adding Monday to that schedule. But we want to keep our people rotating. We want to keep them fresh. And so this gives everybody that time off that they really need. And a lot of our people have personal lives that are much more filling right now. A lot of children are home, husbands are home,
right.
So they have a lot to go take care of. So we thought this would be a better schedule, at least for now, maybe through the summer. We're just going to play this by ear. I mean, like I said, today is our first day, so who knows what tomorrow will bring. Well, but we've had clients in already, so people are excited to see it. We've got new artists are coming in, so it's really, we see this as almost a reopening, not rebirth, but really opening with a bunch of new things we've been working on. So it's exciting.
What I was going to ask a question, and I can't remember what I was going to say. With I don't remember now. In regards to
that's part of that time frame that we've been talking about, getting older.
It does happen, right? Yeah, just one of the benefits or the lovely characteristics of old age. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Square footage. How many square feet do you have there in the gallery there on MacDill? Because I was going to say, as far as having, being able to accommodate people and keep it at a minimum, you still have quite a bit of square footage.
5,000 square feet in the gallery. We also have a 2,000 square foot production framing facility in Ybor, in a building over there, but that's not open to the public. But as you know, we do a lot of very high-end framing, custom framing, things that no one else can do. We have just a selection. We do handmade, one-of-a-kind frames. I mean, really, truly unique and very technical work. So we have the shop for that. And then here we have the retail Longitude. So, but at 5,000 square feet, we're not too worried about social distancing. I'm hoping that becomes a problem for us,
Right.
that we have to put more outside and keep people out the front door because there's so many people inside, but I'm not thinking that's going to be a big issue for our business.
I cannot wait until someday that social distancing is not in our regular vocabulary on a daily basis. And we'll get into that in a minute, but I'm so over hearing that. It just about makes me crazy, but I have a feeling it's going to be quite the norm for us, at least for the near future. One thing I wanted to mention, and just I probably say this all the time as we talk, but again, you do custom framing and all types of different artwork needs that people have. I had I don't know what you call it. It didn't have a frame. It was that thing that you fixed for me years ago. So it was obviously a painting that was in my house when I was in like nursery school, something that had been in my family since I was a child. And I had kept it all these years, and it had been in the garage, heat, it was stained, it looked terrible. And I remember bringing it to you one day and asking if you could resurrect it and do anything with it. And not only did you clean it up so it didn't look like it'd been, through hell over the last 30 years, it was beautiful, and you put this beautiful frame around it. So even, people might not think of you with even doing things like that, but even heirlooms that we might have, or things that, are priceless to us from our family, you can turn around and treat and make it look as if it's new. So, thank you for that. That's something I will always cherish, and I hope people will think of you for all of those needs as well.
I hope so. But yes, each thing that we do, really, we're not a factory where we're very limited. In fact, just the opposite. So for us, it's about what it is that you have, what it means to you. It's a little bit of a longer process when you come to us than you would go to anywhere else, because we really want to understand why you're framing this piece. What about it speaks to you? And then we really want to exceed your expectations. We want to find the thing about it that really makes it, so when you look at it, it makes it more than what you saw. And also, my background in training, I have a lot of technical training. So if it's something that has a problem, archival, etc., there's just so many different variations on how to treat something and what can and can't be done. And then we, of course, work with the American Institute of Conservationists. We have conservationists that we recommend. So there's just a lot on a technical side if you have that. But really, most people, it's the technical is in the background. You don't see that, how you preserve a piece or make it so that you can enjoy it longer. It's really the design aspect. And after this long of doing it, I literally have everything from, we can design a frame, draw it out, and have it made, from everything from karat gold to welded steel. So we really can do things that nobody else, there's not a person, probably in the state of Florida, who can do what we did. So, and certainly no one on the west coast of Florida. But yes, thank you. The framing is something that I love, because I love to see what people bring and how they react when they get it back and how much they love it. So,
well, I think that you're so passionate about it. I think that's one of the things that really stands you apart. That's why you've been in this industry for 40 years. You the end result of what, how heartfelt these items are to us, really matters.
Nobody else would hire me, so I had to start my own business. So,
is that how it started?
Pretty much, yes. That's exactly how it started, actually. So it was a moment at 26 when I realized that I had to do something with my life, and I knew how to do this, and people kept asking, and from that it grew into what I have today. So we've had some.
Well, how did you know how to do it? Was it just something that was, just came to you, or that you were natural with?
My family was involved in art and very involved also at USF back when some very famous artists came through out there to work. And so I was skipping school to go out to USF, which seems odd to skip school to go to school, and I met some of these artists, and they just were just interesting people. And it was just the world had such a great influence on, not realizing at the time, but it had just a huge influence on my direction in life. I am creative, but to be around these very creative, very successful people gives you that sort of drive that maybe you can do something with it. And
Inspiration.
Well, it was. And then I went with the framing, and I worked for different framers. There wasn't really a way to learn it. Now there is. And I take classes every year. I get recertified every year. I take classes from the National Gallery. They do classes on preservation. We take classes from all kinds of different sources. And it's really finding the new thing, moving into, now we have frames that were milled out of acrylic. We can do custom designs and coloring. And so, the technology helps us do just really interesting, fun things. So, but that's how I came into it. It's just always been almost a curiosity of how to do something better, how to do something more interesting for somebody. It's always, I can do this. And then I try to figure out how to do it, which sometimes doesn't work out so well. And, but it's always a learning experience. But yeah, so it's really a great passion of the art, and to see what art and framing does, they're very different. People think of them kind of as the same, but they're really not. So we started working with artists almost as soon as I opened the very first gallery space, and we've been working with artists for 35 years. Yeah. So it's just, again, the creativity, and every time I see art, it's just new. It's amazing how many different styles and how every artist approaches it so differently.
Well, their vision, I guess, because it's so unique to that specific artist that and with technology today, I can only imagine how you've watched that, transition over the last 40 years, as far as how things were and done, 40 years ago versus all of the opportunities. And I can only imagine how that has changed. It's interesting as I listen to your story, because so often, and I'm so fortunate to have the opportunity to interview so many great people like yourself, but it, so often in our early lives, we're just taking steps and not really knowing where we're going. And then it actually is leading us, down the direction of where our life will and journey will take us. It's like pieces of a puzzle, coming together that just fit somewhat naturally, as we take each step each day. So it's interesting, and here you are.
That's true, but there are times I think when small businesses, we are considered a small business, and I think a lot of times sometimes when things get really hard, like when we're being forced to shut down, and other businesses are not being forced to shut down, which makes no sense to me. I go, well, I don't have, what could I do? But after 40, my resume has a really big space in it from my last job. So it would be hard to put a resume out looking for a job that goes, oh, I did this 40 years ago, and now you got to explain that gap. So I don't think I have much option left except to make what I do work.
Well, you're a fixture in the community, and I know I personally won't let you go anywhere, but it's okay. I want to spend some time on that, because I know you do have some frustrations. I know we all do. I mean, we're all, and it's interesting, as we started out at the beginning of 2020, and things were so promising, and I don't, for us, it was the start to a great year, and we were very optimistic about where the year would go. Of course, this came out of the blue. We are in uncharted territory. Who would have ever thought during our lifetime we'd experience anything like this? Every time I brought a guest on, I do ask about, if you were successful in obtaining any type of business loans, and I know I'll reel you in as I need to, but tell us a little bit about your experience and frustration.
Well, we did get the PPP. I was on that almost immediately and working with my bank, and very lucky, because he said that only my banker told me that between 3 and 5% of the people who applied actually got money.
So you did?
So I did get the PPP.
Oh, good.
Not emergency disaster loan, which we also wanted and applied for, but I haven't heard anything on that. It's frustrating because there's no way to check. There's no one to call.
No.
The day, and the banks are like, "Don't call us." And I'm like, "Did you get it? Should I reapply?" Nothing.
Right. Interesting with that. I just this past weekend, so I applied at the beginning of April for our company for Edge, and nothing. Obviously, there's no way to contact. I did get an email a few days ago out of the blue that just said it was pending. And there was no information to contact them or no way to do anything. It just said, just so you know, it's pending. And I actually did talk to one person that did get $1,000 from it because it was a small business with one employee. But they said that they were now, depending on when you filed, it was $1,000 per employee. And she got $1,000. So we'll see. I have no idea.
Right. And that would be nice to get. It's not going to save our business. I mean, even the 10,000 that they originally were talking about would have helped a lot. But it's very frustrating. This whole process has been frustrating. I have lost a huge amount of, I guess, respect would be the word, for our government officials from the city, county, state, and federal level. I mean, it has been a disaster for small businesses. And not to go off on my rant like I did the other day, but, we really aren't in a true shutdown, or we are the only people who have been really hammered in this are small retailers, restaurants, independent businesses. I mean, I went out the other day and in the middle of this supposed shutdown, and I see big box stores that are open. I see craft big stores that are open. I'm like, why is a craft store? Why is the World Wrestling Federation? Why are they an essential business? So to me, it was basically a big joke that really hammered the economy. The government forced us into this, and they're doing virtually nothing to help. And then they're turning around and going, "Oh, well, we did this SBA," which very few people got, or we only got a little bit of it. And it's not enough. I mean, my landlord has said either pay or, move. So all my overhead is continuing. Plus, the only options I have now is to borrow money. So I'm going to come out of this time frame with people not at the same level. We were going into March, we were on our best month we've had in the past 5 years. And we didn't even have a full month, and our numbers were phenomenal. And I have some great staff. I mean, I have new people. We kind of were in the process. We kind of turned this corner. We've been on top of things, and we really see that starting to come together. We were kind of going through this lull, and we're coming back. And then this happened, and we got forced into a shutdown, and virtually no help. I mean, the businesses that make it, good for them. But I think the government did a very bad job, and I think every level. I mean, I think the city has done a horrible job. They haven't enforced it. I go by these stores, and they're packed inside. I go to the grocery store, and
it's tough when you have so many of these large businesses that are thriving, and everyone, that's really the only place to go get our basic needs and things that we need.
I don't know why craft stores are open. I don't know why all these other stores that are, have a little bit of food or a little bit, and now they're essential businesses. I think, and I think that really essential businesses is anybody who said I'm an essential business. And the county, the city, no one's out policing this. They're not out enforcing it. So how do I take this as a small business serious when I have competitors, because they're big, that are open, especially on the framing? I mean, my clients can still go get work done. They just can't come to me and get it done.
Yeah.
So I call it, one of the biggest bad jokes out there. I believe that, I think that we're going to still have a lot of problems from this, but our economy at mid-level is, for small businesses, pretty destroyed. And I think that the fallout from this is going to go on for a while. Luckily, my business, I am very lucky that my clientele, generally speaking, are not at the level of the people who lost their jobs. They are, they own the companies or et cetera. So they're going to be smaller, and they're going to get through, and we'll probably get through. But it's very touch and go. There's nothing that says, this is going to be okay. And as you know, here in Tampa, for most businesses, summers are the worst times.
Yeah.
So we're opening up just as we're coming into our worst time of year. We don't know what this year will be like. I don't think people will travel or vacation the way they normally do.
Well, hopefully now that we've, schools, everything's so different. Hopefully, a lot of times we do have slower summers, but we've usually had a great spring. So hopefully now that we haven't really had the spring, I don't think that people will be jumping to get on planes and travel or even taking road trips as we normally, although gas prices are at an all-time low. But I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. You know me, Miss Optimistic, always trying to share some hope and optimism. But I'm hopeful that we will have somewhat of a prosperous summer for those that of us can hang in there.
And my hope is that people have been sitting in their homes for 4, 6, 8 weeks, and they're sick and tired of them. And we're in a great business to help them with that. So they've been staring at bad walls or pieces that need reframing, or they need to do something to feel better about their space. They're sick and tired of it. So we can help them, and I'm in that position. So I feel really very confident that as things start to come around, we've had clients in the past, even 3 or 4 days, coming in or making appointments to see about getting things, new art for their homes, et cetera. So that we do see an upside for us. It's sad. I also online on Facebook, different things, I see one business after another going, we're done.
It's a little disheartening when you drive down the street and businesses that you knew were once there are no longer there.
And that's going to continue. And this is where the government isn't helping. They should be doing something, enforcing these landlords to help with some type of rent abatement with taxes. They should, utilities, everything that's being offered to us is, well, you can put it off a month or two, but then you owe it. I don't need a ton of debt coming September or August that all of a sudden I have all this debt that I have to figure out how to manage. So that's not an answer. And so when I say I'm disappointed in what the government has done, they shut us down. And I'm not trying to be some very right-wing radical, but I feel like they made a decision to shut us down, and they went, good luck. And they like to stand up and do these speeches about, oh, we did this, and we did this SBA, and we did this. It's nothing. It's nothing compared to what we're getting hammered with. Even the SBA money we got, the way it's set up, yes, it helps pay the employees, but it doesn't pay my rent, doesn't pay my insurance, my utilities.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I see the clock is counting down. So.
Yeah, we still have a lot of the unknowns going forward, and just really taking things day by day. Michael, we have just under a minute left. What are some of the things that we can look forward and seeing at Michael Murphy Gallery as you get reopened and transitioned?
Well, we have new art that we're bringing in. So we've got some of it. In fact, one of them is behind me. It's Amy Donaldson, who's an artist that represents out of California. We have several new artists. We also are bringing in new art from the artists that we've had. So we'll get that on our website, and we'll get that in our e-blast. So if people want to get on our email list and see what's new and what's coming, go to our website, which is mmgart.com.
We have all the information online. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. I know it was a struggle to get you on, but thank you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Hang in there. Bye, Ann. Welcome back to Getting the Edge. Thank you again so much for being with us today. Thank you to Michael Murphy Gallery, for being a guest on the show. Again, one of my favorite people. If you have not been to Michael Murphy Gallery, go check it out. It is right near MacDill Avenue and Beta Bay in the South Tampa area. Highly recommended. Beautiful 5,000 square foot studio. So check them out. Again, thank you to Michael Murphy for joining us. So excited to have on our second guest for the day a small business owner in the Tampa community, Nicole Nicole Carver with Carver Concierge, owner, CEO. Thank you. Welcome, Nicole. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
Hi. It's so hard. I'm still trying to get used to everybody being here virtually. I'm so personable that it's just not as much fun without kind of, okay, so virtual hug.
Appreciate that. I'd be glad when I can see you in person also.
It's definitely a unique time, and that's kind of what the beginning of the show, really trying to focus on the positivity and our rebound and recovery stages from kind of what we've experienced in the last almost 2 months now. But Nicole, tell us a little bit about Carver Concierge. I know I am a fan and have had the pleasure of working with you. Your team actually assisted us with the Edge launch party in February, which seems like so long ago. I guess it
does
wasn't.
Seem like another world time ago, doesn't it?
It does. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about the different things that you offer and take it from there.
Carver Concierge has been in Tampa for almost 8 years now.
Oh,
and
wow.
We are a lifestyle management and personal concierge agency. We provide extra hands on deck to help busy executives have more time in their lives. So we manage everything from travel to paying the bills, to picking up the dry cleaning, to small events at home, gift shopping, calendar management, you name it, we do it. If it's on somebody's list, we can take care of it for them.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on almost 8 years.
Almost
7,
8 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And again, just from my personal experience with Nicole and her team, you guys are phenomenal. I enjoyed the girls so much through the event, and even just the prep work that we went, that you assisted with up to it. The less stressed out I have been at an event in a very long time. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's what we strive for. Great. Glad to hear it.
So how, you offer your work and the variety, or I guess the variety of everything that you're able to offer ranges. So have you been completely hindered by this in our shutdown over the last couple months? Or have you been able to do anything, or have you been pretty much shut down with non-essential businesses? Tell us a little bit about your experience and how the last couple of months have gone.
Sure. We've been pretty quiet. We came almost to a standstill, but not completely. Partially because we provide a lot of in-home services for our clients, and other things were shut down, or people are working from home. They're homeschooling, whatever that looks like right now. So nobody was able to be in their homes or take care of things. So it has been really quiet. This last week, though, things are picking back up. People are filling up their schedules again. We've been working with our clients to discuss projects they want to have in place going forward. Everybody's home looking at all the home projects and things that are piling up that you don't have any more time to get to now than you did before. So we're lining up our partner providers so that when we are able to get back to business in full swing, our clients will be top of the list to get these projects taken care of. But it's been a quiet time. It's been a little unnerving.
Yeah, I realize, and like yourself, I mean, all of us, typical, our small business owners, we are go, go, go. It's go, go, go. And I love it. That's how I work and thrive best, is under the hustle of just not being nonstop and building the business and working towards every day, getting, steps further. But it's, I guess just from trying to have some wisdom over the last now 48 years, I realized that this time, although hindersome and, obviously hurtful almost from a business sense, but it's really time we're never going to have again. I mean, the ability to kind of take a step back, spend more time with family, it really has forced us all to kind of almost stop in our tracks and reevaluate almost everything. And I as much as I am so tired of being at home, I enjoy being at the studio twice a month because at least I get out of the house. But I realize it's such a unique time. I almost try to enjoy the moments, because as soon as we know it, we're going to go right back into, speeds of 360, or however you might say that. Do you feel the same, or how have you tried to enjoy?
I have. We've had a lot of shifting. I used to be the only one that worked from a home office, and I've been sharing my personal office space with the 5th grade class lately.
Oh, wow.
Since my daughter's been doing a lot of Zoom classes. My husband's also working from home. But yeah, I think the schedule has allowed us to slow down, spend a little more time not being on the go to every activity and
Right.
out to dinner every night and every place we want to go, and being able to refocus on maybe as things start to get back to normal, what we want to keep in place and what we're anxious to get back to.
Yeah, I feel like there's lessons to be learned in almost everything that we go through, and things as horrific or, you know, as terrible as they may seem. There's unique lessons for each of us that we can take away from it, or, you know, values to come from things. And so that's kind of what I've tried to do, is pinpoint, you know, what can I take away from this experience? You know, what lessons can I uniquely learn, you know, from this? And it's interesting, as I talk to other people, you know, they are as well, kind of trying to look for that underlying message or, you know, lesson for them.
Mm-hmm. I think finding the things that give you joy right now that you want to make sure remain in your new schedule when you go back to whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
I know not commuting has given people time in the morning where you get the extra workout in, or you get the walk, or you get to sit down and enjoy an extra cup of coffee versus everybody charging out the door at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I have a smaller household. There's only pretty much my daughter and I and the cat. So I can only imagine it as I've talked to others that have the husband now working from home. Those that have younger children, they're now schooling and doing all those activities at home as well. I can only imagine at this point it's probably, I mean, it's still enjoyable. I'm sure you love your obviously that there's tremendous love, but yeah, I can only imagine at this point sharing that space is becoming, it's at its limits, I'm sure.
It is. I think no matter how big the square footage is, the walls have all started to get a little smaller lately.
Right. Especially if you're all sharing kind of that same space where, anyway, I can only imagine. I am my kids, that was one benefit, I guess, to having them quite young, and they're both grown. My youngest is almost 20 now, so I do not have those still in school where I'm having to, because as a mother, I can only imagine. And for those that have multiple children at multiple ages that are doing multiple virtual schools and trying to work from home at the same time, I just don't know how they would do it.
No, it's a lot. I think it's a real full plate, and that's where we're still able to assist our clients because, like you said, everybody's working from home and you're schooling multiples and trying to manage everything from in the confines of your house, and not a lot of other projects are getting done.
Right. And that is kind of one of the hindersome aspects to this, is that I think, during this time, we would love to maybe do some of the things we hadn't had time to do. I've been trying to finish a book forever, but I haven't necessarily been in the best creative space, to write the book or to really write anything for that matter. And so that's kind of my dilemma or issue. And I'm sure so many others that want to take care or do home projects or do different things. It's hard with everybody at home at the same time with all these other, obligations they're still trying to fulfill. So yeah, we're all kind of hindered as we try to, figure out what to handle or what to take care of. So
absolutely.
How did you get into the business? How did Carver Concierge come about?
Carver Concierge came around because I was an executive staff assistant. I worked both in state government and corporate for years. When I married my husband, we went overseas, and we were stationed in Germany for 5 years, where I did some volunteer work, but it also gave me the time, like now, in a sense, to kind of step back and reevaluate what I wanted, what was important, where I could best serve people, in what capacity, I did a lot of volunteer work while we were overseas. And when we came back to Tampa, being a military spouse, not having family around, I still had 3 kids at home at that time, and a spouse that was gone most of the time. I had to use the skill sets that I had and still be available to my family. And working with executives in the C-suite level for years, I knew how to assist them to make their lives easier. So that's sort of.
And Nicole, how old are the kids now?
I have a son who's 26, one who's 18, and a 10-year-old.
Yeah. So is the 18 graduating this year?
Graduated last year.
Oh, okay. Thank goodness. I feel so,
Exactly.
oh, my heart aches for the seniors
I know.
that are dealing with the graduations and the missed proms. And I know the communities and neighborhoods are trying to do everything that they can, but they're not, you'll never get those memories back.
No,
Anyway,
you
so
won't. You
yeah,
can't go back
I
and
know quite a few of the seniors.
recapture those.
Yeah, it's, who would have thought? I surely never did in my lifetime, that we would go through. Although, if you look back at some documentaries and some different shows from over the last, even beginning in the early 2000s, it did talk about that we could potentially face something like this in the near future. I don't know how many people took it seriously, but that's a whole nother topic, I guess, for another story.
Right.
So, is your husband still in the military now?
He retired with 26 years in
Wow.
just this last year. So he's now on the civilian side.
And so how did you end up back in Tampa? Did the military then?
They did.
Okay.
Through the military, yes.
And then you just decided to stay here?
We did. We knew coming from Germany back to the States
wow.
that this is where we wanted to make our home, buy our place, and finish raising our family. Yes.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Vermont originally. We're New Englanders.
Yeah, and so obviously it's quite cold there, except probably envious of them in the summertime, as we're about to experience major heat here. But did you ever consider? Do you still have family in Vermont?
I do. My mother's still there,
Oh.
and they are still getting snow.
Are they?
Still the middle to the end of April, so not envious at all about their weather.
I tell you what, though, over the years, I've been here 25, originally from Indianapolis, but I've been here half my life now. But the summers, I just can't take them. I don't know if it's the old age or what, but I cannot take the heat in the summers anymore. I need somewhere else to go in the summers and then come back. I don't know if that will happen because I don't know that I could leave the kids and grandkids, but I don't know. But Vermont looks beautiful. I've never been there.
It is beautiful, very beautiful state.
So, any plans of going? No, you're planted in Tampa.
We are here for the time being. Yes.
So, what does the future look like? Like with as far as rebound and recovery, what are your plans going forward in the future?
We're holding steady at what we do. Our clients, a lot of them have still been working full time. They are essential employees. Mm-hmm. They've transitioned to work from home. They're anxious to get back to their own office space. And again, this past week, we've started getting back on track with our clients, getting projects back on track. We do a lot of travel management for our clients. So as soon as they can get moving again, once business travel is back in place, I think we're going to be right back doing the same things that we have been. We're also launching in another city this year. That sort of got put on hold with all of this. Yeah. So we're anxious to get back on track with that and bring our services to a new space.
What city are you planning on branching into?
We're going to be branching into Nashville this year.
Are you? So tell us a little about that experience. So how does, as you've been building Carver Concierge now for the last 7 years, at what point do you get where you decide, and I'm not, pre-pandemic, but just in business in general, how do you get to the point where you decide you're ready to branch into other areas? Is it relationships that you make, or what sparks that next step move for businesses, in your opinion?
Sure. This next step did come to us via relationships that we've built and an opportunity that just came about. Somebody was interested in providing our types of services. They didn't want to start from the basics and build a company all from scratch. And we have all the processes and procedures in place. They like the way we do business, and they're like, would you bring it here? And what would that look like? So that's how we started talking about it back in January. We were hoping that we would have been ready for a soft launch in May, but it looks like it'll be a little later. But we're really anxious to get our feet on the ground, or as we say, our heels on the ground up there.
So do you do that through like a franchise type opportunity? Is it through licensing opportunities? Or is it just all under one umbrella that will then transfer into or build out into like the Nashville area or even other potential markets from there?
This will be just under Carver Concierge. We're
Okay.
just essentially opening another branch. So we're here in Tampa,
Gotcha.
and we will have a location in Nashville. So we're building up our partner provider network up there, and we're making the connections, and we're looking to collaborate with other business people in that area.
Yeah, and it's great having that relationship there. Then you're able, and you already have the team there that can handle that Nashville market, which will be great, and relationships that they already have as
Exactly.
well.
Right. Exactly.
Do you have any plans beyond that of building out beyond Nashville?
Time will tell.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We're always hopeful. As long as people want our services and they're in need, there's absolutely a possibility to be in a lot of places.
You mentioned processes and procedures, and I know you and I have had conversations about this, and I think if any businesses that are looking to expand or, have any type of movement, talk about processes and procedures and how important those are for any business. I know many businesses don't have them, smaller business initially, but it's something that you can put together as you grow. So talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. They're the foundation. They're the guide that allows you to grow, to be able to delegate other work to other team members as they come on. And if you don't have those in place from the start,
Right.
or to build them as you are in process, it makes it hard to grow in any capacity. Coming out of state government, I worked with the best in the best of policy and procedure wonks, as they called themselves. So knowing that we needed to have those in place, and we need to have really good, tight policies and procedures that show our clients how we work, and how we protect the information that they share with us is really invaluable for our services.
Yeah, I think so often small businesses, especially if they start out as sole members, so much is in their head. I know, well, like me, it was. It took quite a few years to get to the point where you are able to get to that point. And I tell you, depending on the relationships and the partnerships that we have with us, my brain does not necessarily work into step 1, step 2, step 3, and into some organizational type method. It's more creative, and I think that's why if you don't currently have that partner that can handle and take over what your brain is not necessarily best to process, that's one of the reasons that I think benefits like Carver Concierge work and handle, because you can even take care of that and help people put processes and procedures together as well. That's hard to say.
It is a little bit of a tongue twister,
Yeah.
But you're right. We do that. A lot of times it's when we work with somebody in an instance, say doing an event or something that they've done all the time, it's getting them to just brain dump that information to us, allowing us to put it into an order, fill the gaps, and create something that they can then hand off and they don't have to be fully responsible for all the time. We do that even with household management. We have a full list of how we manage a home from start to finish, and the home maintenance from the HVAC to changing out the batteries in the smoke detector. They're all scheduled, so you know that you're taking care of every single step along the way, and if you specifically can't, somebody else can pick up right where you left off. I think it's just really important.
Well, and that is, I think, one of the importance of with small businesses. If something happens to you and you don't have those, what happens to the business? I think
Absolutely.
that is such another important reason of why they're so important. It's hard to even think about having instructions and kind of that, for a home, but I guess shows you how organized I am. But I guess there should be processes and procedures. Maybe I'm a little more lax since the kids are older, because I'm sure, we did have more of a regimen when the kids were younger, but it's definitely a more relaxed environment with the young one being 19 now. But so how do you see with kind of what we've gone through with the pandemic, like how your services will change in order to protect your team, or even those around you or those that work? How do you see all that? You are going into people's homes, and doing you're very personable with people and kind of that right hand for many. So how do you see that changing?
Sure, we're going to need to take all the same protective measures as any other service provider, whether it's masks and gloves and being sure that we can wipe things down, knowing that our staff is well and healthy.
Yeah.
We've also been doing the same thing because we work with partner providers, whether it's the housekeeper or somebody else who's coming in to provide any service in our client's home. We are also following up with them and making sure all of our partner providers have steps in place where they're going to be practicing really safe procedures so that we can guarantee our clients that as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be very important.
Yeah. And I guess, many of those safety measures, I guess, are already in place to an extent, just for professional practice. I don't know what it is with these P's today.
We've got a lot of them.
but yeah, I guess other methods have to be implemented in order, just because we're in such an unusual time.
I think so. I think it's going to make other people feel more confident and more reassured to know that people that are coming in and out of their home or touching things that belong to them or just protecting their own space, it's really going to be important. And like you said, a lot of them are things that we already do. It's just stepping it up a little bit.
Have you been able to keep your same staff that you've had?
I have. We have a team of 7, and my staff is made up of general contractors. So they're not employees, but they are all either taking care of their families at home. They've been glad to be able to be home and safe during this time as well.
Right. And then so just getting everyone kind of retransitioned as the time picks back up and as things loosen up. And, lucky for you, you haven't necessarily had and like the overhead and just some of the other bigger expenses that you might have. It's so unfortunate. Some of these small businesses that we've spent some time talking with have just been through such a rough time. It's just been so difficult for so many. So, what tips or strategies can you help share that might help some of the small business owners kind of get through or, handle through some of the downtime and then working towards the recovery part of it?
Sure. I think something that's really important right now is to not think you have to do it all.
Yeah.
Whether it's social media or just outside influences, you think everybody's getting a lot done, and they're not. And it's okay right now not to be tackling big projects or thinking that you need to take them on or that you can do everything while you're still doing all the same things you did at home, only in a that you used to do before, only now you're doing them at home in a much more confined environment. I think you really have to give yourself some grace and some longitude to know that those things will get done in time and that it's not going to all get done right now. I think that's really important for everybody to understand.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like what I mentioned earlier. We have so many projects. We want to take advantage of this downtime that we have, but at the same time, we're not necessarily at a point where it's easy to do so.
We're not. And I think embrace the time that you have right now with your family or your downtime or the extra walk you can take, or maybe the book you sit down and read that you haven't had time to do. I spent time taking care of some back-end business things that I would not have had the opportunity to get to at the fast pace we move all the time.
Yeah, and that is one of the, you try to enjoy the downtime because at some point things are going to go back to somewhat of a new normal for us. But it's easier said than done. I think so many of us, you're just frustrated through the moments, and it's not as easy just to relax and enjoy the downtime when you might be struggling or worried about employees or even independent contractors of how you're going to keep them or
Absolutely.
There's
you need to tackle things one day at a time and one task at a time. Like, what is really the focal point and the priority today that needs to get done? And if you can just get that one thing done that moves you forward, then well done.
Right. I guess setting realistic expectations for ourselves and really focusing on what we can control versus what we cannot. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Easier said than done. I know because I have my own struggles with things, but it's even I think last few weeks, maybe it was the beginning of April. or I don't know, but it was hard for me. I almost found myself avoiding talking to people briefly for a couple days because it was hard to kind of, stay in that point where you're feeling optimistic and trying to inspire. And I felt so bad for everyone. It's like you want to know exactly what to say, or, but we're all trying to figure this out together. Thankfully, I'm able to kind of knock myself in the rear when I need to, and it snaps me back into a more of a positive state, and I continue going forward. But we're all human. We all have our moments, but I've just, every time I get thoughts, or if it's not something I can control, I try to pop the negative thoughts away and just focus on what I can.
Yeah, I think we've all had days, and you have to let yourself have the day, but not get too stuck in it and move on.
Well, and I think we are all human, no matter, I think, what level of business we're in, and that is, as I've talked with either. The more business we have, the more we do, the more obligations and the more stress that comes along with that. So it's just really, it doesn't matter where we are in the spectrum of it. Just we're all dealing with so much. So, any final words? We've got about 3 minutes left. Any other tips or strategies you'd like to share with us, and ways to move forward, or just in life in general?
I think it's just, again, going back to that space of don't think you have to do it all, and you don't have to do it all alone. There's always someone else out there who can help you, whether it's a service like ours, whether it's bringing in somebody else who can help with some of the household chores, whether it's helping with the kids, or whether it's just giving yourself grace to just say, it's okay not to get it all done today. These are the things that are the priorities right now. Yeah. And soon enough, life's going to go back to normal, and we're all going to be back at this crazy fast pace again. So enjoy a little bit of time.
How do you, in your opinion, how do you see our new normal setting in? How do you see things? I even think, as we look at, as we continue to plan launches and events, we're hopeful for our second annual celebration of women this fall, that maybe by, September we could do a big launch party again. But, looking at things from a realistic perspective, I wonder, in your opinion, how do you see us going through the end of the year as far as a new normal with things?
I'm trying to remain hopeful and optimistic, and hope that that's also realistic at the same time. I think we can all say, oh, this has been great. We've all slowed down and it's wonderful, and we're going to maintain some of this. I tend to disagree. I think we are a fast-paced society that has a lot of goals and a lot of aspirations, and there's a lot of growth, and there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of things that everybody wants to be doing, and we're all just anxious to get back to doing them. Yeah. And we may have to phase into them, and they may not all come at once, and they may not all look exactly like they did for a while, but I think we will get back to the normal that we knew.
Now, I am very optimistic, especially as far as the business side of things. I look forward to us hopefully having a prosperous summer for the South Tampa community, especially. We are quite slow in the summer. Typically, we have a great spring, and then our summers are definitely slower. So I'm hopeful that with it being kind of a down spring, that we'll have a prosperous, busy summer. But I'm very optimistic that business-wise, as we can do business and businesses can start to open up, we will do well. The virus does scare me, and just some of the unknown with that, and obviously still protecting ourselves. But again, we can only control what we can control, and we try to just focus on the positive and keeping ourselves and our families safe. So that's really all we can do. Yeah.
I think, and Tampa is such a supportive community. We're all going to continue to support each other to help everybody get back to business. So we're all there for one another.
Nicole, thank you so much for being on the show today. I definitely love having you on, and thank you. And I hope to see you sometime in the very near future as we can start getting out again. So thank you so much.
I hope so too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being a guest or being a part of Getting the Edge today. We are here each and every week with you, providing hope and inspiration and great stories from the community. Until next time, never stop dreaming.